Hello the internet, welcome back to the Waifus. Today we're gonna be talking a little bit before you pull Rogue, if it's worth or not depending on your situation. And this is important because right now in Nikke, we are at the point where it's no longer about if it's worth pulling a character or not. It's about your account specifically with so many characters that we have in the game right now. And this will only keep becoming worse over time because how many units we get. Now, we're gonna be talking about pros, cons, and in my opinion, reasons to be pulling for her. In my case, I usually pull for everything. You all know it. I need to keep my Pokédex completely full. But for free-to-play, it's kind of more complicated. So let's talk a little bit about it. Before we start, leave a like, subscribe, help me grow the channel. We're gonna be live when this video goes up. So come and say hello. So let's start with the pros, and then we'll go into the cons, and then lastly, the reasons to pull or skip. Starting with the pros, the first one is that Rogue makes a better duo than actually going blank Nord. Going Rogue blank is going to be a lot more universal for the simple reason that Nord increases max ammunition and her buffs weren't that good to begin with or were more affected towards shotguns to begin with. So now Nord can be going into these shotgun teams and you can keep your Rogue and blank together because now blank can even be used with compositions where last bullet matters. So for example, Sameranis, Private, your Dorothy, etc. All of these characters that want to have low ammunition now don't get affected by nerfs. So that's the first reason and something really good that's gonna open a lot of team compositions with the new bunnies. Not only Rogue Blank, but also Rogue Nord depending on the composition and a lot more things. Second reason is the cooldown reduction, and this is because it's basically identical to Declare Wife, but it has a little bit of a different reload time. It's only 2.33 instead of 2.0, which is not gonna be something you'll hardly notice on a 3-minute fight, but it's something to take into consideration. Meaning, if Declare Wife is right now the best cooldown reduction unit arguably in the game with Litter, we can assume that Rogue is going to be a really good unit for people who are lacking this type of characters. Cooldown reduction is always something that will be welcome no matter the type of character. Third thing as a pro, and we'll also talk about this as a con later, but it's the max HP, because max HP without restoring is niche, but she's actually buffing Black Burst, since this is based on her max HP. Sefhi, finish investing Black, I don't want to. So as you can see, this is based on the final max HP, etc. So we're talking about increasing her heals and also the shield on skill 1. So the synergy between Rogue and Blank is there, and it's of course undeniable. Now of course there is as well some synergies with other B3s that we'll mention in a second. In fact, asking with that, there is also synergy with the current Electro meta units. Of course, since she is also electric, it's gonna be really good pairing her with them, but you have characters like Guillotine, which is perfect for Rogue. You also have characters that already are pretty strong like Summer, Anis and Ain, and they can benefit from this. Not only these characters, but also if you've been working on your Exia Treasure, which is not my case as you can see, but Exia Treasure will pair pretty well with Rogue because she does not need to be bursting in order to provide the cooldown or the attack damage. Now those are some of the pros right now for the character. Of course, this is before she comes out and we properly test. So let's move into, in my opinion, the cons that she will be getting. Starting with, first of all, constant limited characters. This is important, and this is what I always say, that this depends on your account. After this, we're going into Anniversary, which is going to be a really strong character as we've been getting them on past events or similar events. After the Anniversary, we're going into Christmas, which is going to be at least 6 limited units, right? Including the previous one plus the new ones. When we finish Christmas, we're also gonna be going into the new year, which remember, the previous years we got Modernia on the first year, and then on the second year we got the strongest DPS in the game right now, which is SBS. So we can expect another strong Pilgrim that most likely will be redefining the meta. And this is rinse and repeat with Shift Up. Free-to-plays cannot catch a break. So we're getting to a point that if you already have enough cooldown reduction units, Rogue might be a skip since she is not a limited unit and you can pull for her later down the road. The second con, and I want to talk about this, is because the positioning for Rogue is important. She is the first character that actually tells you she needs to be positioned on specific places. And this is the first time we're getting this. But as you can see, this will affect only when she's on the back row, aka the second or fourth positions. Now, a lot of people, myself included, will forget to put her there there. My reason is pretty simple. On the center, I like to have the best ass. On the sides, I like assets that I like also seeing, and they can be really well on positions 2 and 4. For example, I like putting on the second position Miss Marcy. Now, a lot of people will forget positioning on Rogue, and this is also important to consider. If you're a casual player that just auto-puts their teams 1, 2, 3, most likely you will not be getting these buffs, and a lot of people who don't even read the kits will not take full advantage of this. So positioning is important, and if it's something you need to consider before pulling, just make sure you remember that. The next thing or the next con we can talk about is actually once again pairing her with Blank, because Blank is providing really good damage taken, right? But you will need another B3 or an off burst B1 or B2 that's buffing your B3s, because the damage taken is good, but you are not getting any offensive buffs outside that small attack damage that is not a lot, and this small attack percentage, which again is a 15 based on casters. As a supporter, not too great. So you will need another B3, or you will need units that buff themselves enough, like for example the newly introduced Asuka. The next thing I want to talk about, and this is once again related to her position, is the buff itself. Because attack damage is not only a small modifier, a 6%, but it's only for 2 characters on both sides, meaning that she's not applying buff to everyone in the team. So Rogue will be actually for people who enjoy team building and properly tinkering with this type of stuff. If you're more of a casual, I still retain my opinion that she is an easy skip to save for anniversary. Now, when we talk about the max HP, since that is basically everything she does on her kit outside the small buffs, we have to understand that right now, outside of buffing Blank, there is barely any DPSs that will benefit from this. Characters that benefit from max HP, it's your Guillotine if you invested in her. In my case, I do not like her. And of course, the Copium, which is nothing but Copium, the 2B investment, right? Because you could be going something like Rogue, Must, 2B Guillotine to get that extra damage, but then you have no heals. So we'll see how this plays out and how many compositions we can build around the max HP. Right now, there is not a lot of characters that can benefit from this. And then the last con that I want to talk about, it's the most important one, that people already have invested bunnies. Most likely some of you already have fully invested your bunnies, not my case, but 10, 10, 10, fully overloaded level 5. For those people, investing on a new character to pair with Blank, it's gonna be really expensive, even though it's gonna be worth it, of course, in a lot of situations, depending on your account, right? So that's also something to consider, how many resources you have to build this new character that's competing with North to be the pair for Blank, right? So all those things consider pros and cons. When should you be pulling for her? There is multiple options. So first of all, if you have one of the bunnies, if you only have Blank, I would pull for Rogue. If you have only Nor, I would 100% skip Rogue, because they will not pair as well, even though they will still pair well together, but it's better to be going with Blank because the cooldown reduction. If you're a new player without any cooldown reduction, so Litter, Dorothy, the Killer Wife, Volume, all of these units, she will be an amazing asset for your account that you should be pulling for, in my opinion, if you have the resources and some tickets saved for anniversary. Because cooldown reduction for new players is really important to actually have a proper rotation and start to understand how team building works in Nikke. Now, of course, when we talk about raids, both unit and solo raid, you should be pulling its cooldown reduction. There is no reason not to be pulling for a B1 with CDR plus some small buffs, so 100%. And the last reason to pull, in my opinion, it's if you are building those Electro or Mono Electro teams with now Ain, Sameranis, Exia, etc. Nikke is moving into the elemental direction. We've seen this time and time again. We'll keep going into this direction, and if you're working on this type of teams, she's gonna fit in perfectly. Now, all that said, those are, in my opinion, the pros, cons, and reasons I would pull for the new character coming tomorrow, Rogue. We're gonna be doing viewer pulls the moment the patch is up, doing core 7 viewer pulls. If you're interested, come say hello. That's gonna be it for this video, guys. Love you all. Good luck with your pull rates, and see you in the next one.
役立たずは楽園から追放するのみ。ブランとノワールのショータイムです。天地万物を切るとはこういうことだ。